Alright, good afternoon folks. It is I, Chief Sarkhan of Ask the Chief Streaming, and once again I am here in WildStar. I am a part of the MMORPG.com stream team that has been authorized to show you everything about the wonderful game that a Carbine is putting together. Today we are going to be talking about the guild panels, the functionality of guilds, what you can do currently. Understand that currently the system of the guild is still in work, so there may be some changes to that, but I wanted to give you a brief introduction of what that's all about now. Kind of give you a feel of where guilds are going within WildStar, so you can get a kind of sense of how you can lay your claim and your mark to your gaming family that we call guilds. Then we're going to jump on over to Runecrafting, give you an introduction to Runecrafting. That becomes available to you at level 15, which is the highest level I can show you currently under the current NDA, which is perfect because at level 15 you open up the ability to do Runecrafting, so I get to show you Runecrafting. Thumbs up to that. Everybody's excited to see Runecrafting and how that plays into everything else. People like Onrez have been showing you some wonderful stuff about how the crafting system works. Runecrafting stacks up on top of that with your character development. So we'll dabble a little bit into that. Then, to finish off the show, we're going to jump up to our house because, hey, who doesn't love housing? I'll show you the tips and tricks about the housing, the different options that are available to you, and we'll build it together because I have yet on this tune gone and set up my house. So you get to take the journey with me, help me decide what to build, where to put it, what to see, and how that all plays into it. So let's get started, shall we? And please, like I said, this is Ask the Chief Streaming. If you don't ask me questions, it's going to be a long and boring show. I'm telling you. I'm all about the information. You want it, ask me, I give it. That's the way it works. So let's have some fun. So here I am. I'm on my level 15 Drakenstalker. We are here in Elum, which is the Dominion faction city. And as you can see here, we're up at Fate's Landing. Fate's Landing is where you can pick up a guild. And guilds cost money. So here we are in front of the guild headquarters. Let's run on in here and pick up a guild. Let's just start one. We come on up in here, and we have a couple of vendors. We have the guild registrar, pretty similar, and then you have your guild bank. So once you have a guild, you'll be able to share a bank with your guild mates. Let's see here. So let's click on this. As you can see, she won't talk to me. I don't have a guild. I can't do it. So, let's see here. Level up unlocks. Let's see here. I honestly don't remember when you can get a guild. Guild creation. So, at level 12, you're allowed to unlock a guild. Here you are. Guild creation. You have to be level 12 to unlock a guild to create it. You can join a guild before level 12. You just can't be the creator of one until level 12. Good question. So, we come here, and here's our guild register panel. You have a number of decisions you have to make here, and I apologize for the mic spiking. That's probably me being excited and talking loud rather than the mic itself. I'll try and maintain a calm demeanor, and so you can hear me and let me articulate my words. Just a caveat, while you're here on my streams on MMORPG.com, I do not tolerate any discussions about beta keys. Do not talk about the fact that you are in beta if you are, unless you're an authorized streamer like myself and Onrez. So Onrez will be able to chime in and answer questions if I'm distracted and he can answer. If you're not an authorized streamer, do not talk about the fact you're in beta, please. I don't want you to break NDA. Also, if you have a beta key and you are trying to do some trading or selling and you say so in my channel, I will ban you. We do not put up with that stuff here on this channel, so please do not partake in it, and please don't make me make you not be able to talk. because I want you to talk to me. So anyway, let's get right into it. First question is, how much does a guild cost to create? As you can see here, it's 10 gold. 10 gold at this level is a lot. I actually got some money from a friend to be able to show off housing and guilds, or I wouldn't have been able to afford it. Oh, do we have ads? Sorry about that. This is MMORPG.com's channel, and ads happen. Hopefully you still get to hear everything. So here we are in the guild panel, so let's get right to it. Obviously, you get to pick a name. Your name can actually be fairly long. I think I put like 30 characters in this earlier just to see how many characters I could go with a name. It can get pretty crazy. Do you want to create a character with a name that long? Probably not. So we're just for fun, let's just call it Ask the Chief. Why not? It's all about me, right? So now here's where it starts to get interesting and decisions need to be made. So you start off with 3 default rankings to your guild, and you can instantly decide what to call those 3 ranks. Keep in mind, after the guild is made, you can add more ranks. These are just what you start with, and how you can invite people into your guild and set them to different tiers of permissions. The default is 3. You can make more. I haven't attempted to see how many you can get to, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could do 10 or 15 ranks. But do not quote me, because this is still a work in progress. So your default titles is going to be your guild master. Obviously, that's the person in charge. He's going to have every permission to the guild. Your council, these are going to be your voting members that can invite people, kick people out, whatever permissions you happen to approve. We will get to the permissions a little bit later. And then you have your regular member, which is going to be not have a whole lot of capabilities other than probably use the guild tank, stuff like that. Like I said, these ranks are completely customizable. You can change the name. If I don't want to be guild master, I can be master of the universe. Now, the guild master's name is Master of the Universe for the title. Why not? I want to be it. There we go. So, first decision has been made. We've changed things up. We customize it. Whatever. You can have a lot of fun with you want. Can I mute the voice of the game? Oh, that's a good point. Let's do that. Sound. We'll turn that off for now. We'll turn it back on when we go to do other stuff. So, I got to start all over again. Sorry about that. I always forget about the background game noise. When you're not fighting and doing stuff and want to hear the quest dialogues, it can be irritating. Okay, now the last thing you have to choose is, what do you want the guild emblem to look like? And the interesting thing about your guild emblem is it's a 3-tiered symbol. You have a background symbol, which in this particular one is this green in the back. You have your foreground emblem, which for this one happens to be a star. What you can't see in the preview, which needs to be fixed, is the trim and the scan lines. Now the scan lines are what you see there. See how it's getting the distortion effect to it? Like it's a electronic symbol. You have 2 choices right now. You can turn those on or off. If you don't want any scan lines, you just won't see any. If you want scan lines, they're on. The trim is actually a border, like a picture frame, that's going to go around your emblem and how it looks. But that's not what we're going to cover today. Today we're just going to kind of go through some symbols. So I always like to start with the foreground symbol, just because that's going to be the prominence of your symbol. The rising star is what's there. We can change it to a hammer. And let's change the background to something a little less overwhelming. There we go. So we can see the foreground symbol. So we can change it to a Stokes Draken, an Action Kitty. And so you can see there is just a ton of different symbols here that you can choose from for both your foreground and your background image. Some of them are the same front and back. So you can have different things. There we go. We have a action kitty with a rainbow. Why not? We have four corners picture frame, or we can have circuit flare. We can have all kinds of different framings to the emblem. And the way the emblem works is that it's going to display basically on the four sides. It's like it's going to be part of your, it's going to be over your head, on each shoulder, and your back. That's why I say this is a work in progress, because I believe the intent is eventually to get it to be right on your armor, or it's just going to be like a billboard emblem. We've had feedback put in to change the way it's displays, because honestly, when you see it, it's kind of rather annoying at the moment. But the fact that you can display a guild emblem looks really cool. Yeah, the cat rainbow looks pretty cool. We're going to go through a few more because there's some really humorous choices to be made here. And so I want to see you more than just a few. So let's go here. How about predatory gaze with a rainbow? And these are all subject to change, so don't get asphyxiated on one, but you can go Crafters Guild. Hey, there's a custom engine. You like to build stuff? Let's use an engine. Let's go here. There's an angry Icatharan. Anyway, so like I said, we can go through a number of these different things. Gluttonous Tribute. On a shield. Now let's pick something different. Wings of Judgment. There we go. No scan lines. Oh, interesting. There seems to be a bug with the scan line option. How about a hover bike? Hover bikes is cool. Let's see here. So any questions about this panel? Now keep in mind that once you make a decision here and you create the guild, you can come back in here for a fee and change things. So if I decide that I didn't like the name or I didn't like the symbol and I wanted to change them, there's a currency called Renowned. And Renowned is when guilds do things together, you earn a currency. So you have to come in here and spend that Renowned to update something. So as your guild develops and changes, you can make updates. I'm not sure if you can actually change the name, so I retract that potential statement, but I know you can change the emblem. The Renown, it's 100 Renowned for the first change, and I will show you that once we actually create the guild and spend the gold. But we'll get to that. So let's review a few more things. Ask me a few more questions about this before we actually create the guild, and then I'll go into the guild management functionality and show you how that basically works, because if you're like to be a guild leader or a guild officer, those are the parts of the guild system that are important to you. You want to know, how can I manage my guild effectively? So we need to create it, then review it. So let's look at this. Let's go. Ooh, Cursed Relic. Hungry Canamid. And these symbols, like I said, could potentially change. Heart Attack. Let's see here. Tricky Rabbit. Oh yeah. Who doesn't like a rabbit for a guild emblem? That's what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Creepy Skull. Creepy Skulls are cool. That's even pretty good with the Wings of Judgment background. That's kind of cool if you're into the whole... That's a good PvP guild emblem right there. Don't you think? Let's see here. Belongs in a museum. Nice skull feature. Well, hello, sailor. A walrus in a sailor hat, and I'm the chief. Perfect. What do you think? Let's try for some backgrounds now. Grunt stripes? No, sailors aren't grunts. How about golden mark? No. Dignitary standard? That's pretty cool. I actually like that. That's pretty awesome. What do you think? Think that's a pretty good one for a demo so we can get to the other features? How about lines? Do we want corners, dots, winged logos? Unfortunately, I wish they would show you the border in the preview, and I hope they fix that in the future, because it would really be nice to know what this looks like. And it doesn't display it in the world, so that doesn't help us. So you're kind of, at the moment, stuck with whatever you get because you can't see it. Significant honors sounds pretty cool. So what do you think? Let's do it. So let's say okay. So now we've created our guild. So now I can go in here. Oops, did I not purchase it? What the? It didn't create it. Oh no! What happened? Well, that's a bummer. That's all right. We remember what we did, right? There we go. There we go. We've created All right. So we've created a guild. And as you can see there, see how the guild emblem kind of hovers around us? That's what I was talking about they need to fix. I don't mind having the one above my head, but all the way around me can get rather frustrating. So I'm hoping they fix that in the near future. I know they've been talking about it, but now it's clearly indicated that I have an emblem. So now I can go in here and we have the bank. Guild banks have unique features about the fact that you can set up a guild tax and people can deposit money. So you got money here. You have influence, the guild influence points that are occurring. You can deposit money, whatever. You have your bank. You need to purchase a bank permission. Hold on. So under bank management, you have to buy bank spots using this influence. So you have to go out as a guild, gather stuff up, and be able to purchase these bank spots. You have your bank log, has people taking stuff out, has people use the bank currency to repair their gear, and the bank tabs once you unlock them. As you can see right now, currently it seems a rather stiff price for a guild bank as far as influence, so I'm not going to delve too much in that. It's probably going to be tweaked and managed, and so on and so forth. And the fact that you don't get at least one tab default for free seems rather interesting. But, like I said, it's a work in progress. I wanted to show you the fact that these are the options you have in your bank tab. So the question is, can you turn off the emblems? Yes, theoretically. So if you were to go into nameplates and you come down here and show do not show guild name / emblem, it should not be showing. However, currently there's something going on with the nameplates UI it's not properly registering the changes. So even though I say don't show guild names and emblems, it's still showing up. But normally you would click this and it would turn it off. So there is an option to do it. It just doesn't seem to be working very well. So now under your social menu, you come over here and you have your guilds. You have friends, neighbors, guilds, and circles. Let's briefly cover what each area is about. So your friends are your friends. Now under friends, you can have your friends by character or by account. So that is a personal choice between you and your friend. Do you want to know every character they have because they're an account friend? Or do you want to just talk to that person on a specific character because the person's got both factions or whatever? So you have that type of thing. You can also denote rivals and ignored. So you can designate somebody as your opposite that you want to constantly keep in touch with or be rivals with and know when they're online, so you know it's time to go PvP because my rival is on and I know he's good. I want to make sure to join matches because he's probably going to be there. Neighbors have to do with housing system, which we're going to cover when we get to the housing system, but basically you can allow people to come to your house to visit, or you can designate them as good neighbors and they can actually do things on your housing plot. Like I said, we'll cover that when we get to housing again. But, you know, can they build and change your house? Can they harvest resources? They use your private adventures that are accessible through housing system. So you do all that under the neighbor list. I don't have a house, so I can't designate a neighbor system. We have our guilds, which we're getting ready to show you. And then we have our circles. Your circles are your social groups that are tied together under a common interest. And so if, for example, Anrez and I are heavy crafters, if we're not in the same guild, I almost guarantee we'll be in a crafting circle so we can network together. You create, you know, the weaponsmithing union or something like that, for example, because on this character I'm a weaponsmith. If I wanted to network with harvesters, maybe there's a harvester circle and there's just people out there gathering resources that even though there's a commodities exchange, I may want to know who's online right now that can deliver me some stuff to my crafting station for a price. So you might join a circle for that. You might just have your Friday night fun group. Whatever. Right now, you have up to 5 circles that you can create. And so you manage that, and your circles are basically a communications system, like link cells in Final Fantasy, exactly. They're called circles in WildStar. Let me see if there's any questions. Guild tax. I'll get to the guild tax as soon as I open the functions. 40-man raids are above level 15 NDA, so I can't really talk about them other to say that they do exist, and so on. Currently, the number of guilds you can belong to is 1. So, we're going to go into our guild management system. And you're going to have information about your guild that you can adjust. Here's your basic guild information panel. You can see the guild master. Had I changed that title like I tried to at first, it would say Master of the Universe right there and then my name. Then you got the guild. When the guild was created, it defaults to 413 years ago. Why it defaults to that, I don't know. I assume one day you'll be able to adjust that. It should actually say when you created it. And so, ads should only be happening every 10 to 15 minutes, and there should only be one. I'm not sure why you're getting an overabundance of ads. I really don't have a lot of control on the ads. They just kind of happen. So here it'll tell you the number of members that are online. Here's the guild tax. Right now it says it's a 15% guild tax that I can turn on or off. In the future, I'm assuming you'll be able to adjust how much guild tax occurs. I don't know the full effect of what guild tax is tied to, but I'm pretty sure it's just kills. It's not going to take away from your questing or crafting and stuff like that, profits earned. But don't quote me. All I know is similar to, I know WoW had a tax system. You get a percentage above and beyond that gets deposited into your guild bank for guild activities to support raiding and stuff like that. So you can turn this on and off, and well, you can't see it because my camera's blocking it, but in the chat, changing something in this panel announced it to the guild. So when you make a change, they're going to know. So if I turn the guild tax on, it announces that the guild tax is now on. You can change your message of the day and initial information, but that's the boring stuff, right? You want to get in the meat and potatoes. Let's go over to the roster. So under the roster system, you have a lot of different things you can do here, and it's pretty simple to navigate. Just like your social panel, it's broke down into their name, their rank, what level they are, what class they're playing, what path they're playing, and they're on, and whether they're on or off. And then any notes that you might add to them. And so you can add a member by clicking this button to invite them. So if I was to click this and type in a person's name, I could invite them to the guild. You can also use / commands for this. This is just the guild interface. You can promote a member, so if you were to click on it, you could promote them or demote them or remove them to the guild, pretty standard functionality. You can edit your notes. You can edit your own notes, and I believe that there will also be officer functionality to where the officers can put notes on other people, but we'll see. I just made a note that I'm awesome. Why? Because it's my guild. And then obviously you have the disband function here. Now, here's where you come into how you control ranks and systems. So down here you got your review guild permissions. You can look at each rank and you can add a rank. So as you can see here, you have your default 3, your master, your council, and your member. You can adjust the permissions of each of those by just going in here and toggling them. So say the guild master doesn't want to be in charge of doing stuff, he can turn that off and turn it back on. He will always have the permission to affect any of the permissions, regardless if he turns it off for himself. He can always come back here and turn it on. Same thing with the council. You can come in here and you can see the different choices that they have. They can't disband, they can't remove a rank, spend influence, but you could change that and you could say, hey, I want my officers, my council members to change the ranks, not the guild leader, whatever. Voting. There's a voting system that's applied to guilds. We haven't really seen a whole lot of how that works yet, but I know there's slash commands for it, so there's going to be some built-in guild support that has to do with voting. Invite, kick, change the emblem, can they chat, council chat, affecting the banks or the neighborhoods. So here is a good hint that guilds will have their own neighborhood that they have to control information on. So hey, the functionality is in place for it. So can they add plugs and deploy housings for the guild? Interesting little things there. We already know guilds are tied into war plots, so can they do different things to the war plot that belongs to the guild? Now understand, you can have war plots separate from a guild, so you can be on a war plot team, but you can also have a guild war plot that is open to just the guild. Same thing with war parties. Can you queue up for matches as a guild? And can that person in the guild, whether they're a council member, a regular member, whatever, or queue up for all of that? So on and so forth. So you can see here they're pretty detailed levels of permissions, and we can only cover what we can see now. They're still a work in progress. I did caveat that numerous times, right? Guilds are still a work in progress. There's still lots of things that are potentially going to happen to the guild system to improve this, because there's a lot of things we, even in beta, can't see just yet. So we're going to close that. And then you can add a rank. Well, now you can come in here and just add a rank, and let's go, let's see here. Crafters. And let's see here. They can see the bank tab log. Let's see here. They can spend influence. They can vote. They can invite. Member chat. Just a few. So now we have a crafter's rank. And you can just keep adding ranks and changing their permissions. I don't know, like I said, I don't know how many exactly ranks is the max. I want to gut feeling say it's about 10, but don't quote me. And like I said, if you want to go in here and you can just delete a rank and bam, it's gone. Just that quick. Now, why do you want to join a guild? Well, we have guild perks. And this is where it gets interesting. So as you earn influence in your guild, you're going to be able to increase your guild member limits. You're going to be able to unlock guild tabs, your bank tabs, and you're going to get to be able to choose bonuses as you go along. And the only way to do that is through the guild system. So if you're familiar with WoW, they have a very similar situation. And you can see here there's a number of tiers and the amount of influence needed to open up these tiers. So let's just look at some of these bonuses that getting influence is going to give you. So as you can see here, a tier 1 guild with no influence can only have a max of 40 members. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm going to join the game and I already have 500 members. Well, there's talk about that. But right now, the way it is today, you have to earn the influence and unlock the number of members that can join your guild. And I think that's because they want you to develop your family, not just spam invite everybody in the world just so you can say you have a large guild. So, yes, you could create a rank that makes somebody be silent. So you can have your just joined rank and not let them talk into the guild. So here you can see you can get up to 5 bank tabs using your influence and up to 500 people in a guild using your influence. But on top of that, you have to make choices. Do you want to spend it? So let's look here. Guild Influence Enhancer. If you unlock this, you get 7-day duration of an 8% bonus to influence earned by members in your guild. So they're out and about doing their thing, earning guild influence. You can purchase this for 7 days and increase that amount of influence. So you can get your influence quicker to potentially open up a larger guild or open up more bank spots or open up some of these other abilities. So, and as you can see here, guild influence, you have to get a max of 200,000 a day, and you need 300,000 just to get to tier 2. So, you know, getting that type of stuff is going to be a team effort. So you want quality people in your guild, not just quantity. Let me take a drink and catch up on questions. Yeah, so the spam invite noobs set guild tax equals profit is what we're trying to avoid. We want the guild system to be a social system, not an abuse system. While some people like to just be spammed, if you send me a guild invite and you haven't spoke to me, I ignore you and I decline. I don't care if you're the best guild in the server. I don't care if I know you. Don't invite me without having a conversation. It's about the social aspect, not just what the guild can do for you. That's my opinion. That's not everybody's opinion, but that's the way it works. And I'll just let you know, if you find me in any game and you spam me with an invite, it's an automatic decline. Just saying. So, let's see here. So the level of the guild membership is open for discussion. There has been a lot of feedback about that limiting factor. It may not be such a good idea, so that's why I caveat the guild system could change in the future. So I'm showing you what's available as of today, as I'm allowed to show you, not what's going to be in the end game. It may change. It may stay the same. You may say, well, I already have 500 members. Well, guess what? Get your 4 quality people in first. Get the influence up. Get your next 40 in, so on and so forth. Maybe you come to find out your 500-man guild really doesn't have 500 people that are dedicated to WildStar because you haven't played it yet. How many times have you joined a game, pre-joined a guild, and then got to the game and find out you really just didn't enjoy the guild or the game, and you went back to a different game? So, yeah, I think I like the idea of limiting the tiers by numbers, but at the same time, I have some hesitations about it also. We'll see how that all plays out. Let's see here. Any more questions I can do? I agree. I think that the guild tax needs to be adjustable. I think there needs to be a cap on it. I don't think you should ever be able to put more than, say, 10% guild tax on, but you should be able to adjust it between 1 and 10. That's my personal opinion. So, yeah, I know there's large guilds out there. Anyway, so let's continue on. Let's look at some of these other influences you can get for guilds, because we don't want to stay on guilds forever. We want to get to Runecrafting. And we're going to do that right now. So here, your next tier 1 is a Flask of Experience. Unlocks the ability of guild members to purchase a Flask of Experience, which is a self-used renowned booster. So it's going to be on a cooldown. You can use it, and people can purchase that flask and like once a day. I'm assuming they can click on that and get like a 30-minute or an hour buff. I'm just guessing. I've never actually seen it used. I'm just telling you what they're giving you. And then tier 2, so on, prestige, player summoning capabilities, Flask of Harvesting, the ability to purchase a flask that's going to increase your harvesting capability. Great benefit to crafters that are in guilds. Those guilds that support your crafters, this is going to be one of the early things that they're going to unlock for their crafters. Those that don't support your crafters too much when they hit tier 2 probably will purchase one of the other things first. Account invite question. Can you invite an entire account to a guild? That is a really good question, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I don't know. I just don't know. I've never tried it. But that would be a really cool function that I don't see why you couldn't. You can invite in a friend to a friend status. I'm sure that they'll probably put it in if it's not. Let's see here. Okay, so anyway, guild reputation, Flask of Prestige, mobile repair vendor, renowned, Flask of Greed, reputation, coin drop, renowned, guild experience, and flask. So you can see in all these tiers you have turned on enhancements that affects everybody. And then you're going to have flasks that you can purchase that are just for yourself, that are only a benefit for being in the guild. I am curious to find out if you purchase a flask while in a guild and then leave the guild, do you still get to keep the flask? I'm assuming yes, but I'm also assuming that the flask won't work unless you're in a guild. So once you purchase it, you'll own it, but it'll only work while in a guild since it's a guild perk. That's my suspect, because making somebody purchase multiple flasks just because they leave guilds would be a little too much of a money sink, even if it's just renowned. Anyway, any last questions on guilds before we head over to Runecrafting? Well, I'll head over to Runecrafting while we're doing it. And then the last thing, like I said, we'll switch over to housing, which is this area right here. Woo! And we'll go build a house, because, hey, that's what we're here to talk about today. So a little bit about Runecrafting. If you've been involved in some of my other streams before, you know I've talked about the attributes of capabilities. So when you look at a character, you have all these gear. And as you can see, the gear doesn't have any slots on them. Well, when we get higher level, you're going to get slots on gear that are going to allow you to do Runecrafting. And right now, I have a quest that says craft my first rune. So this is a Runecrafting station. To do Runecrafting, you have to come to one of these. You can't go over here to a crafting table and do Runecrafting. It's just not going to work. And just because it's irritating, sorry, and I can't turn it off, I'm going to disband my guild just because it's in my way. Actually, no, I won't, because I might have to show it off again. So, we click on the Runecrafting table. This is what comes up. So let's cover Runecrafting in-depthly and show you the crafting process. So the way the Runecrafting works is you have 3 panels. You have your runes panel, your items with rune slots, and your set bonus runes. And I'm going to cover each of those for you step by step so you clearly understand how Runecrafting works. So in your panel, this is how you determine what runes are available to craft. And you can highlight them to see what they're all about, or you click on them. Well, actually, clicking's not working. But anyway, it comes up and tells you what it's all about. For example, the first tab is sorted by elements. So elements correspond to the color that's on the slot. So let me go over here just so you can see what I'm talking about. Here you have items that you have either wearing or in your inventory that can be inscribed. So you can think of Runecrafting as basically enchanting, inscribing, improving a piece of gear. Well, in my inventory, oops, I must not have picked up the item. Did I? Uh-oh. They didn't give me the item I'm supposed to craft. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not there yet. Craft a rune of grit. First we have to craft the rune, then they'll give me the item. I'm sorry. Going out of order of the steps. So, here, let me backtrack. These three things only determine how you sort your list. Element, by set, or by stat. Okay? They all give you the exact same level of recipes. So just because you see it in this list, you're going to find the exact same thing on this list. So for example, Rune of Grit is the stat. It's giving you grit. If you click here, it's called Rune of Grit. Okay? Different way to look at it. This is by set. Okay, so there's a Rune of Grit set. There's a stat, Rune of Grit. It's just a different way to look for it. This becomes more important when you open up the full list by clicking this button to show all runes. Over here, it's the same idea, but it's listing it by element. And you see here, Rune of Insight is a water rune. Rune of Moxie is a fire rune. And if you remember in previous crafting videos from OnRes, you had your red, green, and blue slots. Well, guess what? Those correspond to elements. And those elements are tied to the whole crafting system. So where he was saying earlier, if you were watching that show, that if you match a green slot, you get more capability out of that slot by putting a green slot in here. Now you can quickly see what color or what item would go into that. So an earth rune is for tech. So that's a different color. Now, we can go over here and we can say all runes, and now you can see every rune that's available. Or you can click the button again and say only craftable. So you click that, and now it goes down to the list that you have runes for. So let's open up our inventory. These, where did the runes go? The runes aren't in my inventory. Anyway. Oh, that's because they're in my trade skill bag. Sorry. Runes actually go into your trade skill bags. So here's my signs and then my runes. So they automatically go into your rune crafting bag. So here you can see I have 6 rune fragments that are simple runes, and you can see that I need those to make these. Rune crafting also requires the elemental signs, and signs correspond to the color and the element that are needed, and you need both to create a rune. So right now I have a quest to create a Rune of Grit. So I'm going to click on the Rune of Grit. Let's see here. Oh, I'm not clicked on the table. Rune of Grit. Why is this not crafting? I'm missing my crafting button. Interesting. Oh, there we go. So under Stat, for some reason the other panels aren't explaining or expanding. But under here, under the Stat panel, this should work under each panel. It doesn't matter. Why it didn't expand while I was on under the Elemental panel makes me curious, because it worked before when I tried this before. Anyway, So now here we have the Rune of Grit. It says I have to complete a Rune of Grit, and you can see here it's showing you the runes needed to craft it. I'm going to reduce this to the... It only wants to expand. I guess it only wants to expand if I click it all. But anyway, so you're going to craft this. Now it's just crafting. It crafted a Rune of Grit. So now we can look in our inventory, and we have a Rune of Grit that adds to, it gives a high amount of stamina. We've completed our quest. Let's go over here and talk to our quest giver. Now we're going to be able to pick an item. So now I can benefit from this item by looking at this, and not only for this quest, pick something I can use, but you can see there, now it says it has an open earth slot. That corresponds to the rune we just made, earth. So I don't want a light armor, but as you can see here, it's going to increase my armor and then whatever stat I want. So this one's going to give me brutality and crit. So I'm going to pick this one. Now it's going to tell me to go modify the gear. And this is where end game creating is going to come into play. So here it's saying I can't make anything. I don't have any runes anymore. But if I look at my inventory, I have this available. But it says I have an available Rune of Grit right here. So these are the runes I have. These are the runes I can craft, and these are the slots. So all I have to do is drag this over here to the slot, click on it. Oh, never mind, don't drag. Just click on the slot, select it, and say, do you want to add rune? I believe before I used to drag it from my inventory to do it, so that's why I got the drag thing. Sorry. So you click apply. So now I've added a Rune of Grit to this slot. You want to maximize the color that goes on a slot. There is sometimes you can put a rune on a slot of a different color and it would still work. However, you're not going to be effective. And as you can see here, equipped in inventory. It's in my inventory now because I am not wearing it. If I go put it on, notice how it's not listed in my inventory slot anymore. Now it's under the equipped. And you're going to see everything available that has a slot that you can inscribe. And as you can see here, these boots ended up with +2 grit because of this. I don't have to highlight it. It just tells me. It gave me +2 grit. Everything else is the default features on it. So if it was empty, you would see a blank spot with no green text showing you what you put on it. Now for the last thing about Runecrafting is set bonuses. These set bonuses are rune sets that you're going to find in the world via quests, via drops, via crafting, exploring. These are going to be drop things that you find that's going to add to your capabilities. And the way rune sets work is if you have an entire set of those runes put into your gear, or the designated number of runes, say you have 2 out of the set, 3 out of the set, 4 out of the set, you get an extra bonus on top of just the stats that they get. And it's usually going to be ability type based. So is it going to be extra strike through? Is it going to be extra run speed in stealth? That type of stuff. I'm just throwing things out there. Don't quote me on the specifics of the rune sets. We haven't seen a whole lot of rune sets, but that's what's going to happen is these rune sets are going to be more powerful than the regular runes. And you can see some different type of stuff. So like here's the Rune of Assault, high amount of assault power, and what's needed. There may be a rune set that goes with the assault power that says, well, if you have assault power and crit and moxie together as a set, you're going to get this bonus. But you're not going to know about that bonus until you find the rune set information to tell you to do that. So, I hope I've covered the rune crafting well enough to get you started. Let's complete this quest. So now we can rune craft to our heart's delight. The only downside of runecrafting that I see is you can't open up and review the runecrafting panel without being at an inscription station. You actually have to come to one of these things to be able to look at the runecrafting list. So it is a come back to town, look at it, do type of thing. So runecrafting is considered like a hobby. Everybody gets it. The difference is, we go under trade skills, talents. I'm not positive on this, but I think there may actually be talents involved with runecrafting, or maybe it's just the sets. But it's a work in progress. So if there was to be talents, it would show up right here for the runecrafting system. Like right now, like I said, I think there was talks about having talents with runecrafting, but I haven't seen it yet. But it's a predecessor to potentially be out there. So anyway, let me take a drink, see where we're at. Okay. Does components in your crafting bag count against your overall inventory limit? That is a no. However, your crafting bag will get full. As you can see here, I've maxed out my canvas cloth and my ore chunks. They can't take any more. So you can see my ore is now spilling over to my bag. There are limits to how much your supply satchel can carry. The runes themselves do not go into the supply satchel. They go into your inventory. Let's see here. Any more questions? You can get runes and signs as you salvage gear. So for example, let's take these boots. And let's salvage them. It says I got a sign of fire, which is part of the runecrafting system. I also got a rugged pelt and split leather. So you could also get the rune fragments from salvaging your gear. Let's see here. Can the trade skill bag be updated? No, but you can upgrade your bags themselves. Yes. Can you replace rune sockets? You can override a rune socket. You cannot remove